Welcome everyone. This is Incorporating Career Readiness into the Tutors Experience. Just a quick quick note about our Academic Center Summit. This is our last call for the live conference that we are going to be hosting in Orlando near our company headquarters. We are going to be featuring a number of great speakers, including our keynote Sandra McGuire. We have a tour arranged of the UCF SARC, the Student Academic Resource Center. We're going to be talking a little bit about our products, but mostly if you're not a client, then you don't have to worry about any of that. It's all going to be focused on professional development for folks working in learning centers. We're going to be having a lot of networking opportunities and a fun excursion to Winter Park, which is a very underrated and very nice part of Central Florida. Mark is going to paste the link in the chat if you are interested, but as a last minute special, we are offering code Keynote 200. If you enter that and register by October 9th, you get $200 off of our registration fee. So last year's event was really great. We are looking forward to this year, and we hope to see you there. And just a quick note, if you are interested in learning more about our center management system, Academia, we do offer semester-long trials if that's something you're interested in. It is a software system designed to make management of your learning center easier. You can email me at rachel.c@engineerica.com to find out a little bit more about that. So. Welcome to the latest webinar in our Engineerica Education Keynote series. We are so pleased to be bringing you this complimentary presentation. And for those of you who are new to us, our company specializes, and Engineerica specializes in learning center management systems for higher education. So some of our products you might be familiar with: Academia, AcuCampus, and of course I want to give a special welcome to any Engineerica users who are joining us today. We started this keynote series for our clients and our contacts who wanted to learn more about best practices and trends in higher education. So each month we featured a different speaker to talk about hot topics in the academic support field, and we are still finalizing the details for November session, so we'll send out an announcement about that through our email through emails and social media channels when that opens up for registration. A quick introduction to myself: I'm Rachel Cook. I am a client success manager with Engineerica. I was previously a learning center manager myself for 6 years, so I love being able to do this series and bringing these ideas to you all. I'm very passionate about student success at the higher education level. I also have with me Mark Kehoe. He is one of our technical support specialists, and he's here, as you heard during the icebreaker, as my backup. And now I am pleased to introduce you to this month's speaker. Trish Allen is the tutoring coordinator at the University of Wisconsin, Superior in the Educational Success Center. She manages all tutoring programs and initiatives on campus, as well as the first-year mentorship program in collaboration with Mentor Collective, and supports academic recovery of students on academic notice and suspension. Trish has a master's in social work, and prior to her experience in higher education, worked in nonprofits, advocacy organizations, and in children's mental health. She brings these approaches to her work with students, utilizing strategies that enhance well-being and increase accountability and motivation. So we are so excited to be hosting her webinar, Incorporating Career Readiness into the Tutors Experience. I will now stop sharing my screen and make Trish the new presenter.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Rachel. I'm really excited to talk to you all about how I work on incorporating career readiness into the tutor experience. This has been kind of a passion project for me over the last few years, just because I think it's important. So I'm excited to share my knowledge, and hopefully you can take some things away from that. I'm going to start with a little bit further of an introduction to me. So my education, I had a double major in psychology and political science, and then I continued on to get my master's in social work. Through doing that, and then after, I worked in a child care center as a toddler teacher. I've been in county social work, working in children's mental health, and I've worked with nonprofits in child advocacy restorative justice, and a young mothers program. So kind of a wealth of experience working in kind of more direct need areas, but I was always really drawn to higher education. And so in 2017, there was an opening for the admissions counselor here, and I jumped on it, and luckily I was able to get it. And then in 2020, I moved over into the tutoring coordinator role, and I absolutely love it, and I have not been happier in any other position I've been in. So it's a little background for me. It does become a little bit more relevant as I go on. But I also want to talk to you all a little bit about UWS and who we are. So we are a small public institution. Our total number of students is about 2,700. So I want to give that context as I lead into this, because our institutions might look different, and the way that I am able to incorporate something might be different from how another institution can. So we are also an access institution. So our kind of priority is that if anybody wants to get a higher education, we want to give them that opportunity too. So we offer different services and different programs to try and boost their readiness for once they're in college. And that's a lot of what our office does. And because of this, we do have a large non-traditional and online population. And then we also have about 9 to 10%, I think it increased again this semester, of our on-campus students are international students. On top of all of that, we've been getting a strong push from the Wisconsin legislature for students to be career ready. This has been kind of a big initiative, and just kind of a lot trickling down a little bit from administration. That said, I was already kind of incorporating a lot of this stuff before we started getting that push. So some of it's just kind of interweaving with what I already do. Our center, we have a traditional tutoring center, and then I have an embedded tutoring program. Each semester I have between 20 and 30 tutors. We are centralized, so all of our tutoring services are offered through the Educational Success Center. We do drop-ins and scheduled appointments, and we are CRLA ITTPC certified. So I wanted to give some context into why I started really looking into career readiness, and why it was important to myself and the center and the services that I offer. So when I took over the tutoring program in fall of 2020, as you can imagine, it was an interesting semester to start, but I was also just basically starting from nothing. All of our tutors were virtual. I didn't actually get to meet any of them in person until the spring semester, and I had a lot of turnover right away. When I asked like what was the reason, a lot of it was just like they didn't feel connected to the program, which was something I needed to work on. But I would also get a lot of reasons of I don't plan on teaching, so I'm doing something else. And so I realized at this point that it made a lot of sense for me to try and think about how can I advertise this position and connect with my tutors in a way where they understand the skills that they are building as tutors that go beyond just teaching or becoming a professor. Additionally, for those of us who utilize peer tutors or other kinds of student employees, we recognize that this isn't their forever job, and we should be mindful of that when we kind of teach them how to be a professional in the field. So as I was pondering this topic of like how could I help them understand their skills, I was considering my own experience too. So my experience in social work isn't what most people would assume as a degree of choice for somebody then working in higher ed, but I use these skills every single day in my job. From the program and the education that I received to my jobs and internships that I have, every single day there's something that I am utilizing. And it's something that if I ever wanted to go back into the field, I'd be able to take the stuff that I'm doing now in my position and apply it to future positions as well. And so I wanted to help students understand those kind of transferable skills and how to sell those skills as well. So I turned to our career services office, and they pointed me in the direction of the National Association of Colleges and Employers, so NACE. If you don't know what this is kind of the overhead organization for career services departments, and they kind of set the tone for how to prepare college students for careers in grad school. So they have a definition of what career readiness is. They say that career readiness is a foundation from which to demonstrate requisite core competencies that broadly prepare the college educated for success in the workplace and lifelong career management. So rather than kind of incorporate or building in career readiness as you build these specific skills for this specific job, and then that's the job that you go into, they thought of it more as what are the kind of transferrable or college or career ready skills that you can have that can apply to multiple different places. And with that, they came up with the 8 career competencies. You'll see the link down at the bottom. I have the development and validation of the NACE career competencies or career readiness competencies. That is one of the materials that I have linked here. So if you want to read more about how they did their research and found the 8 competencies, you can read up on that. But for right now, I'm just going to dive into what the 8 career competencies are with an explanation. So the first one is career and professional development. So this is a person's ability to develop oneself in career through continual personal and professional learning. People who are developing this skill have the ability to reflect on their own ability. They can seek and embrace development opportunities, and they're aware of career path opportunities. The next one is then communication. So this is the ability to clearly and effectively exchange information, ideas, facts, and perspectives. So somebody who has good skills in communication is able to understand the importance of and demonstrate verbal, written, and nonverbal body language, and have and play skills of active listening, persuasion, and influencing skills. And they're also able to promptly inform relevant others when needing guidance with assigned tasks. So they're able to ask for help. The third skill is critical thinking. So being able to identify and respond to needs based on understanding of situational context and logical analysis of relevant information. So being able to make decisions and problem solve using inclusive reasoning and judgment, being able to gather and analyze different information from a diverse set of sources, and then proactively anticipating needs and prioritizing action steps. So kind of thinking through what are the solutions here that we could have. Fourth then is leadership. So this is the ability to recognize and capitalize on personal and team strength to achieve an organizational goal. So students or people who have the leadership skills are those who seek out and leverage diverse resources and get feedback from others to inform their direction. They serve as a role model to others by approaching tasks with confidence and a positive attitude. They plan, initiate, manage, and complete and evaluate tasks as well. We then move into equity and inclusion. So this is the ability to demonstrate awareness, attitude, knowledge, and skills required to equitably engage and include people from different local and global cultures. So being able to solicit and use feedback from multiple different perspectives to make inclusive and equity-minded decisions, to actively contribute to inclusive and equitable practice that influence individual and systemic change, and seeking global cross-cultural interactions and experiences to help understand their own demographic group and others as well. I am curious as to how this one might change in coming years and what the state of Wisconsin is going to want us to do here. But overall, just being able to connect with others and have that the understanding of how to apply different ways of communicating and different ways of conveying information to different groups of people. We then move into professionalism. So this is understanding that work environments will differ greatly and know how to adjust your habits and behaviors based on the environment that you're in. Students and professionals who are professional come present and prepared. They demonstrate dependability. They consistently meet or exceed goals, and they have an attention to details, resulting in few errors in their work. Seventh, so there's two more, We have teamwork, so building and maintaining a collaborative relationship to work effectively towards common goals. So they're able to build strong, positive working relationships with those in their peer groups, team members and coworkers. They're able to listen carefully to others, taking time to understand and ask appropriate questions. And they can effectively manage conflict and then interact with and respect different personalities. And then finally, we have technology. And this one is kind of a ever-growing need in the fields in general. So this is just being able to understand and leverage technology ethically to enhance efficiencies, complete tasks, and accomplish goals. So being able to quickly adapt to new and unfamiliar technology, being able to manipulate information, construct ideas, and use technology to achieve strategic goals, and then navigate change and be open to learning new technologies. There's constantly new stuff coming in, so being able to kind of adapt and figure it out. So I want to take some time to think about how these skills, these 8 core competencies, are being applied already within our tutor roles. So this is kind of the first step for me was, okay, looking at these competencies, what are the places that my tutors are already developing these skills, and how can I help make them understand that too? So I'm going to go run back through all of the 8 core competencies, and I'd like you all to put in the question box anything that comes to mind as examples from how your center or how your tutors are building these skills already. So this first one is career and professional development. So just a reminder, this is the ability to reflect on one's own abilities. So kind of developing your own personal professional self, and then career readiness skills, embracing development opportunities, and an awareness of career path opportunities. So I have examples of my own, just kind of brief ones. I just put 2 for each one. Ones I said was attendance at training. So the fact that my tutors are attending training both at the start of their employment, so getting that new tutor training, but then we also do a bi-weekly training in the form of an IDS course or interdisciplinary course that they take to kind of build their skills and to help them become better tutors. I also have my embedded tutors specifically submit weekly reflections just so that they can reflect on their own skills as a professional, as a tutor, and think about ways that they can improve their skills as well. So I'm interested to hear what some ideas from other campuses as well.
Yep. So we have some responses. And by the way, somebody asked what number 6 was again. I know you're going to go over them again, but if you have that one handy.
Yeah.
But we have had a couple
Professionalism.
responses. Yep. Okay, professionalism. So we have had some responses. I understand folks cannot see each other's responses. I apologize for that. It's the way our platform works, but I am happy to read those aloud. So I'm seeing we offer a monthly PD, professional development for our peer tutors. Often we partner with the Career Center on our campus or other campus resources. Let's see, semesterly performance self-assessments, CRLA certifications, tutors can add to their resume, something I encourage my staff to do. Tutors developing leadership by conducting effective supplemental instructions. We do professional development by meeting regularly and providing them with life skills.
Yep.
Self-reflections prior to observations, discussion, post-observation about strengths and areas for growth. Access to LinkedIn and institutional virtual coursework. Tutors complete self-evaluations and discuss with student leaderships, level 1 and level 2 CRLA workshops. Tutors run review sessions after talking to the instructors, lead tutor opportunities, so the opportunity, I guess, to be promoted internally, attendance to free webinars hosted by other organizations, self-selected tutor projects that align with their particular talents and interests. And let's see, we have 10 hours of initial training, other group trainings, and 3 levels of CRLA certification instruction each semester, submitting tutor session reports, senior tutors. So one thing I can do, just to let everybody know, is I can compile this into a document that we can make available, so folks can see, not just the folks who are here today, but folks who attend or who watch the recording in the future can see the responses. So I can format that, make it nice so everybody can see everybody's responses for the future.
Perfect, because that was exactly gonna be my next question. Is there a way for us all to see this later? So I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I can make it available.
Yeah. So before I go into the next one, like all of those examples were so fantastic, and I'm excited to see for the future ones as well. The next one then is communication. So I'll let you start typing. But as I kind of go into this, something that I realized as I was kind of doing this activity for myself was like we touch on every single one of these topics as tutors. So it's nice to be able to reflect back and acknowledge the work that we are doing as supervisors, and then what the work as our tutors are doing too. So for communication, I have just general communication within a session and the ability to convey information, but then also the ability to use email communication with student, instructors, professional staff. So being able to utilize different forms of communication, both written and verbal, and then being able to convey that information are two really strong elements of what our tutors do. Rachel, are you able to give a couple examples from the chat?
Yep, we have a couple already. I will also quickly mention that I will not put names on this, so don't worry about like there will be anonymity. I'll just put the suggestions. So we have
Perfect.
check-in at the start and end of the tutor shift. Tutors explain complex topics similar to how they would in future roles working with clients or patients, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Documentation of sessions with appointment summaries, standard operating procedures. And then let's see, communication, inter-office communication via Microsoft Teams, presenting academic success center orientations to classes. That sounds pretty similar to what the orientations sound pretty similar to what we used to do. A tutor
Mm-hmm.
handbook. I think at one center I worked at, no, I know at one center I worked at, we did big anchor charts with the policies that was there for the
Yeah.
tutors and the staff, because the tutors and the students, because it was sometimes the only way to make it very visible what our policies were.
Yes, for sure.
Mhm. My tutors email instructors of classes they can tutor personally, letting them know about their ability to help their students outside class. I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like that's it for right now.
All right. So then I'll move into the third one, critical thinking. So this is just the ability to make decisions and problem solve using sound, inclusive reasoning and judgment. So the examples that I have is being able to decipher information presented by the student and determine what to work on. Um, I'm sure this is fairly universal, but sometimes students will come in and they'll have exactly what they'll need, what they need to work on, and you're able to dive right in. But then there are times that students come in and they don't really have an idea what they're struggling with. They just know that they're struggling, or they just know that they want to work on stuff and get some practice in. So the ability to take that information that they're receiving from the students and apply it and figure out how can we work on this and get that practice in for the students, I think is a strong way of showing critical thinking. And then also being able to goal set and plan with the students. So when they're working through sessions, and then at the end being like, okay, what are the next steps here? Are we going to meet again? Are you going to continue working on this type of problem? So kind of like anticipating their needs, getting some action steps in, and summarizing what they're already working on, and creating a plan for the future.
Yeah, I was going to say some students too I've seen come in because their instructor told them to, and they are not 100% sure why all the time.
Yep.
So I'm seeing some responses, being able to redirect a student in their thinking to lead them to an
Yeah.
answer. Um, Asking questions to identify what the student knows or does not know,
Hmm.
training on the Socratic method and scaffolding
Yep.
techniques. I request input on innovation initiatives from the tutor perspective, encourage feedback, collaborative conversations on disciplinary matters. determining whether or not to refer a student to another department and or to escalate a situation to the supervisor. Critical thinking, guiding students in how to develop arguments, developments, employing Socratic questioning. The tutoring cycle by the California Tutor Project and Mark and Ross McDonald helps a lot with critical thinking, and we're hearing more cheers for the Socratic method as well.
Yes. The next one then is that leadership. This one I did find to be a little bit trickier, but I still had plenty of examples for myself. So this is being able to leverage diverse resources and get feedback from others to inform direction, serving as that role model, and motivating and inspiring others by encouraging them and building mutual trust. So I had for leadership that ability to build rapport and relationships with students that they work with, and encouraging them to complete tasks, I think, is a really strong leadership skill. And then serving as a role model. So being able to show what their own study skills look like and how they apply it within the context of the course, whatever it might look like, and just kind of getting that academic skill building in there.
Yep. So we're seeing empowering them to develop workshops and activities materials. This was a big one for me.
Yep.
I like it. Tutoring business cards, which are like trading cards,
Sure.
with all the courses they tutor for on them, passing them out to students to encourage coming to our center. I love that.
Love that idea.
We create leads, L-E-A-D-S, all caps, tutors for each of our subunits who lead their tutors. They are the go-to for tutors about how to submit timesheets, etc. Mentoring new tutors, assisting with trainings. Our experienced tutors often mentor new tutors, both informally and through a guided process. Providing orientations and sharing best practices with students. Some great suggestions here.
Yeah. Just to kind of keep the ball moving here, equity and inclusion, so being able to solicit and use feedback from multiple different cultural perspectives, seeking global cross-cultural interactions and experiences that enhance one's understanding of people from different demographic groups. So my example of this is just simply being able to work with a diverse group of students. So even just my own personal example from UW Superior, we have that large non-traditional student population who are coming from all different walks of life. So being able to tutor somebody who is maybe 10, 15 years removed from school, and this is their first math class since they were 18 and now they are 32, like being able to adjust how we tutor in those versus somebody who is more traditional age. Also with international students, like different ways of communicating information and receiving information as well. So those types of things. And then in my center, we train on universal design and accessible strategies. So being able to work with students with different learning needs and different learning disabilities, potentially, just helping them understand content in a way that's accessible for them.
All right, and I'm seeing being a PWI, intentional training and continued professional development on cultural competency / humility. PWI, I actually wasn't sure what that meant, so I quickly Googled it. It means predominantly white institution.
Yep.
Let's see. Looks like that's the only response to this particular one so far.
Well, I welcome more responses as we continue on. The next one then is professionalism. So being present and prepared, demonstrating dependability. First one I have for this is showing up prepared and completing tasks as required. We have a requirement within our center that appointment summaries need to be completed within the given week. So as long as they're completing those, they're good. And so their ability to do that is pretty significant for us. I have showing up on time, like being present for your shift, and then being able to switch style of communication between working with students, professional staff, and instructors. So the way that you communicate with a peer might be different from how you communicate with your supervisor. What else are we seeing here?
Yep. So as we wait for the ones about professionalism to come in, we did get another one for diversity and inclusion. We give explicit training on equity and inclusion. As a community college, we have a very diverse population and a diverse group of tutors. They are often sensitive to the issue already, but we help them think through scenarios and mentor them when they encounter unfamiliar situation.
Absolutely.
And then for professionalism, I'm seeing weekly professor check-ins, communicating promptly when notifying of an absence from work, paperwork in on time. Our tutors need to check in with our student front desk staff so we know who is working in the space and getting to know, and so that they get to know other staff members.
Yes, for sure. So our seventh competency here is then teamwork. So being able to collaborate with others to achieve common goals. When I do, there's a couple different activities that we do with our tutors. And last semester, we actually showed them the 8 core competencies, and we were like, which ones are you working on? And teamwork was the one that they struggled with the most in figuring out how they're building that skill as a tutor, which surprised me a little bit. So we had that conversation. But one of the things for me is just being able to build relationship and a network of support with the other tutors. So instead of just coming in, keeping their head down and just doing their work with their peer or with the students that they're working with, they're also communicating with the peers in the space or peer tutors in the space and building that network and having that communication. The other thing is then obviously working with the students they're working with to accomplish those goals. But I'm interested to hear how other people are using teamwork in their centers.
So I'm seeing jumping in to help another tutor during a session with needed, building relationships and a common culture of service, training, working together to develop workshops, reviews, etc., and shadowing. My center is walk-in, so tutors collaborate often to help students. Student leadership also prepare trainings together.
Yeah. So just there's so many opportunities for them to work together. So again, I was shocked when they were like, we don't work together. And I was like, what are you talking about? But the last one then is technology. So adapting to new and unfamiliar technology, being able to use it within their work. So the first one I have is being able to utilize our scheduling software and be accessible to students. Second one I said is being able to utilize a variety of resources to aid tutoring sessions. So whether they are just going from the book or they're able to pull up a YouTube video to maybe help explain something, or use Zoom when they are doing virtual sessions and use the whiteboard. So being able to utilize different types of technology within a tutoring session to help aid learning and understanding. What else are we seeing?
I'm seeing training on ethically using AI. That's a hot topic, I know.
Absolutely.
Hybrid tutoring, Wacom tablets. The AI revolution fits under technology. We have developed a somewhat flexible AI policy. Interesting. Our tutors contribute to creating resources on a Google site supported by student-created YouTube instructional videos. Zoom tutoring. Canvas, how to use collaboratives for virtual tutors. Oh, Collaborate for virtual tutors. I think that's the software. So.
Yeah, there's AI is such a hot topic, and I actually am going to be touching on it very, very briefly later. But I think that's a huge one with technology, especially now, that we should be preparing our tutors for. Both within the session, but then also like how to ethically use it as a student too. All that being said, though, the reason why I wanted to do this and just have people kind of share their own experiences and what their tutors are doing is because this is kind of the great first step of how you can then start to convey this to the students and what is important to understand and know. We touch on every single one of these competencies in the tutor role, and being able to highlight the ones that matter the most, quote unquote, matter the most in future jobs or grad school programs is going to be really useful for the students that we serve. So when I am attending a webinar or a conference, I find it helpful to get that context and get that information, but I also really like to be able to leave with some practical knowledge and information and ways that I can apply things into my own center. So that's kind of the purpose of this part of the presentation, is me sharing just the ways that I have specifically done this. And the first one that I did, and this was kind of the first thing that I did, was do a self-assessment with the tutors. So every semester we redo this. I have the example of, or like the template of what we use. I have it uploaded onto Canvas and we just do it through there. The first part of the assessment is them doing a skills assessment. They are rating themselves on the competencies based on the 8 competencies with example skills. And then from there, they're doing a reflection on what their strongest competency is, what their weakest competency is, and then I ask them to set 2 competency-based goals with actions on how to achieve them for the semester. I'm not specific with them on if they need to do it specifically within tutoring, but I do recommend that they try and do something within tutoring, whether that is developing a workshop or leading a training or doing something along those lines to kind of develop those skills. But they also can apply it if they have an internship or other classes that will highlight some of those skills that they want to work on as well. And I'm not just leaving those assessments there, like it's not just like they do it and then we forget about it until the next semester. I am trying to incorporate it throughout the semester in different types of opportunities. So the first one is when I'm doing observations or about the end of semester evaluation. I print off their assessment and I bring it to them after, and we kind of talk about what skills they've been working on and how that tied into the session they just had, or just that end of year evaluation or end of semester evaluation, how they did and what type of work they did towards those goals. Also within the bi-weekly training, I'm bringing the assessment up and I'm touching on it. I'm not necessarily calling out specific goals, but I'm just reminding them that it's there. I'll talk a little bit more about what we do within our bi-weekly trainings, but it is also an opportunity for me to call out specific skills and have that intentional connection to career readiness. And then a lot of you mentioned that you have tutor leads. We also have that. We have tutor leads who then have their own kind of mentorship groups, and they lead monthly check-ins, and part of their conversation, part of their check-in is centered around career preparation. And I'll talk about those last 2 ones a little bit more detail in just a moment here. So the first one is with intentional training. So here's an example of a training topic. We do memory and retrieval. On the initial slide, I'll just give that example, like here's what this covers under CRLA, here's the topic, but then I'll also highlight NACE, like here's what career competency we are going to be developing during this training. We talked about ethical use of AI, this is one that's coming up. So CRLA, it is considered an elective topic, but for NACE, it's technology. So this is what the slide would look like as they come in. They see exactly what we're going to be doing that day. They see what CRLA topic it covers, so they can kind of track it on their own. But then they also say, okay, this is being tied into career readiness in technology and building those skills. So I'm highlighting it right from the jump and just kind of building it throughout the training as well, just kind of asking questions and reflection prompts about like how can you apply this outside of tutoring and within tutoring as well. I also partner really closely with our career services. Liza, who is our career services manager, actually just did her semesterly training with us this morning, and she's doing the second half tomorrow. But she'll come in every semester and we just kind of touch on a different topic. So today's topic was about kind of your elevator pitch and how do you talk about yourself and your skills to other professionals and do that sort of networking, and basically just selling your skills as a tutor. This is something that has been so helpful for me, just being able to kind of like touch or pull in somebody who is more of the expert than I am to kind of reiterate and reinforce some of the other work that I'm doing on the back end. I also, with like the tutor cohort groups, we're utilizing their resources that they provide. So I have like in my notes here, like a list of the different resources they have on their website. And here's an example of build a bullet point. So they have examples and worksheets on how to do certain things. They've got this, they've got career success roadmap, they've got a LinkedIn profile checklist. Like they've got a lot of different types of resources available for students to kind of pull. And instead of reinventing the wheel and creating it for myself, I'm just pulling what they have and applying it within our cohort meeting. I'm also encouraging their events constantly. Whenever they have a mock interview session, or next week we have our career and internship fair, Whenever we have something like that, the flyers are up in my office, and I am constantly asking the students in our center, are you going to this? You should go to this, and just kind of mentioning it, and also participating and volunteering in the events as well to kind of help build that connection. One of the reflection activities that Liza has done that I really wanted to highlight, because it was really eye-opening for a lot of our tutors. It doesn't really have a name, so I'm just going to walk you through it. So first thing you would do is you would put a T chart up on the whiteboard, and on the left side of it, you would ask, what are some achievements that they're proud of, like anything recent that they've done. So some examples from when we did this was, I had my first tutoring session, or I helped a student figure out the quadratic formula, got an A on an exam I thought I was going to fail, prevented students in a group session from arguing with each other, and then became a lead tutor. So kind of a wide range of different things that people are proud of in their accomplishments. The next part of this is then asking, what skills or resources did you use in order to achieve your accomplishment? So we had patience, chemistry, problem solving, communication, just a lot of different types of things. You might notice that some of these directly pull in from the 8 core competencies, but we aren't specifically asking for that. We are just wondering, what are some of those skills and resources that you had? The next stage of this, you go to another part of the whiteboard and you draw 3 circles that are kind of like connected. In the inside circle, you put the word jobs and you ask, what jobs are students hoping for? And you'll get a variety of different answers. We had math teacher, CEO, physical therapist, architect, like various different things. The next thing you ask is, what skills are needed in order to be good at these jobs or to get this job? And you'll see a lot of different options here. So communication, drawing skills, public speaking, patience, chemistry, like all these different types of skills. And then the last part of this is, what are some activities that they can do in order to build the skills needed for the job? And so again, you'll find a very different kind of range of things. So tutoring, elective chemistry courses, mentorship, training, volunteering, a lot of different things. You then pull it all together and you help them recognize that some of the skills that they need for their job, they're already doing within their achievements. So we had somebody point out chemistry for their first tutoring session, and that's a skill right there. Or teamwork is something, leadership, patience. All of these things are skills that they are doing within their role as a tutor. Then in the cohort groups, we do, like every month when we have them, I have them choose a different topic within career readiness. And the example I'll share today is just that intentional focus on resume development. So this kind of came down because I requested some resumes from tutors, or like when I write letters of recommendation for tutor, I'll request their resume. And a lot of times what I was seeing for their experience as a tutor was that they like literally just tutored in X, Y, and Z. And that's fine, but trying to expand on what tutoring specifically means and kind of tailoring it to your profession. So for a biology major, my recommendation is to kind of highlight what are the things that a future grad program or job might be interested in. Probably critical thinking is going to be one of those big things. So choose words and kind of develop that bullet point in order to kind of fit into that critical thinking mold. The next one is an accounting major. One of the big things for them was just general professionalism. So using words and highlighting things that would highlight then professionalism. And my last example was a math education major. So this is somebody who was going to be communicating with students and needed to have a good sense of teamwork and rapport with students. So instead of saying something like diagnosed problem areas, which was great for a biology major, we chose guided students instead. So kind of giving that sense of like mentorship and leadership for the education major. So that is all that I personally have. I do want to turn it back over to the group here, and I'm very curious as to what your centers are already doing, and what are some ideas that maybe have come from just the conversation that we've had of things that you want to try implementing? I know for me, I want to do those business cards or the baseball trading cards for
I
tutors. That's
love those.
fantastic. Yeah, I will absolutely be doing that.
That's an awesome idea.
Hmm.
I see. We have some tutors contribute to a biweekly tutor newsletter.
Ooh, yep. We used to have one of those, and
Yeah.
we ended up phasing it out, but it was such a fun thing to do because we'd have like a recipe of the month, and yeah.
Yeah, I think I did one briefly, but it was just a lot of work to keep up, and I was the only one
Yes.
running the center and supervising almost 30
Yep.
tutors. I like the core competency self-assessment and then using that for goal setting.
Hmm.
Uh, we involve career services in their training. I want to talk to them more about connecting their work with the skills on their resume because many of them undersell their experience. Mm,
Completely. That is exactly why we work on it within
yes.
the cohort groups. Is just they use simple words of tutoring, and it's kind of going in with the assumption that whoever is reading the resume knows what that means. So how can we upsell it? How can we talk about it in a way that's going to really convey what we actually do?
hmm And then I like the idea of putting the NACE competency next to the CRLA topic.
Hmm. Just again, it's a simple thing just to kind of like pull it in and remind tutors. Is another thing that I I didn't mention in this, but when I initially first time I gave the um I the feedback that I was hearing from some students is just like, I don't have time to be career ready. Like I don't have time to focus on this. I have to do
That's
my work.
wild.
Yeah. And that, so it was a lot of conversations too about everything you are doing already is building your career readiness skills. So how can we take what you're already doing and just enhance what the work
Right.
you're doing?
Direct it more,
Yep,
focus the direction. I like the idea
exactly.
of the skills assessments and connecting them to careers, also connecting to goal settings. Uh, we have done resume workshops for tutors and how to play up their role, but using the competencies can be a different approach.
Hmm.
I like the self-reflection activity you provided. We have offered our tutors to extend soft skills training.
Yep.
That looks like it for right now.
All right. Well, I encourage you to keep putting those into the chat.
hmm
And I'll just move on to this last slide. Thank you all so much for being here, for listening, for being active participants. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat now. I'm happy to answer anything.
Yeah, we'll do a final call for any questions. It looks like we haven't gotten to any we haven't gotten any so far that are related to the presentation. Oh, let's see. Yep. Oh, this was a comment. Since we're a community college, we do transfer workshops for our
Hmm.
tutors. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
hmm So just as a final reminder, anybody interested in attending our conference in October, Mark, if you can put that link in the chat again for anybody interested, we are offering a $200 discount if you would like to attend and if you register by next Thursday, if you use the code Keynote 200. We are also offering complimentary trials of our academic center management system, Academia. You can email me at rachelc@engineerica.com for more information. And if anybody does have any questions down the line, because it looks like folks are, folks are thanking you for all the great information. You can of course email me. You can email Trish tallen12@uwsuper.edu. And or you can email me. I'm happy to pass that along as well. And like I said, I am going to compile all those responses and put those in a document for everybody to be able to see. There were most of those I read aloud, but there were a couple that came in a little late, so I'm happy to put those in there. And also as a final reminder, we are going to be redirecting everyone to a survey when you leave the session. So if you have a moment to take that out, that feedback really helps us. It helps our speakers. We thank you so much for your time today. And Trish, of course, thank you for your time for this presentation. It was awesome. Uh, and yeah, so we're getting some folks asking if they can email you with questions. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
uh, please feel free to do so. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. And Trish, thank you again. And we will see you all at the next presentation. Take care.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.